Dr. Priyanka, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Can we check the sounds, screen and all, everything?
Just a minute, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Shekhar here.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Shall I check the video also?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, I will stop sharing my screen. 1 minute. You can start the video, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you, sir.
Couple of months from joint pains, heel pain. Early morning when I get up, I just feel like a very old woman just trying to walk.
Is voice audible, sir?
Yeah, voice is audible. Voice is audible. It is embedded in the video, right?
Yes, sir.
Everything is fine, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So PPT is to be checked. PPT.
Sir, whether we need to check the PPT?
The PPT is not there.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay,
Just a minute.
okay.
Only for cases PPTs are there.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Get it. Get it.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is very clearly visible. Yeah.
No, no. No.
Sir, can we start, sir? Hello, sir. Sir. Can we start, sir?
Can we start?
Yeah. We have a small introductory part.
Okay.
Should we start now?
Yeah.
So, good evening, everyone. I am myself, Dr. Deepu. On behalf of IHMA Kerala, we are hosting this national webinar. Before starting, I welcome Dr. Anupriya to for the praying part.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepu. So, welcome everyone. I would like to start this session with a small prayer. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is a life without power. So, dear Almighty and every loving God, with your infinite blessings and endless effort, make us gather together, mean for the success of this webinar. You are Father in heaven and always merciful and giver of life. So I humbly ask that you bless us, each one of us, our speaker, participants, organizers, and the guest. Guide us to make better decisions. Thank you all for this infinite blessings and countless opportunities, and always grateful to learn new things every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Anupriya. You can proceed the welcome part. So, I invite Dr. Rajastri for the Hahnemannian remembrance.
Thank you, Dr. Deepu. Before we move on to our webinar session, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to the founder and the man behind the homeopathic art and science, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Dr. Hahnemann, who was a genius by birth and a very successful allopathic doctor with his keen observation skills and inquisitive mind, found out the flaws in modern medicine rather than the cure, the sufferings it brought to the humanity. His never-ending thirst for knowledge and perfection eventually led him to find the highest ideal of cure, the homeopathy. We, the homeopathic fraternity, forever will be grateful to him. People all over the world for more than 200 years now are benefiting from this art of healing, all thanks to Dr. Hahnemann. His entire life was dedicated for the welfare of suffering humanity. Whatever the disease may be, chronic, acute, or drug-induced, patients have always found solace in homeopathy under the true homeopathic practitioners. Now, in this time of pandemic also, homeopathy has contributed immensely as a preventive as well as a curative. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Rajastri. I would like to invite Dr. Anupriya for a brief about IHMA.
Thank you so much, Doctor. So, IHMA, the Indian Homeopathy Medical Association, a pioneer organization of elect qualified homeopaths of India, and with its presence along the length and breadth of the country, IHMA has been relentless in its effort to upbring the quality of Indian homeopathy and its practitioner. The major objective of IHMA to improve the quality of homeopathy medical practice and medical education, to maintain the honor and dignity, and to uphold the interest of the profession of homeopathy practice, and to promote cooperation among the members thereof, to stand and facilitate and integrate medical research in homeopathy, to promote an advanced homeopathy system of the medicine and allied science, and improve public health. To achieve the above mentioned goal, IHMA conducted regular continuous medical education programs, medical camps, learning, training camps for the doctors with the help of following sub-three divisions, that is Homeopathy Medical Panorama and Indian Homeopathy Research Center and medical schools. IHMA has been to update its member and latest development in the medical field in general, homeopathy in particular. This was achieved through the regular CMC conducted at the various chapters across the country. The COVID situations presented us for conducting the regular CMC. We comprehend through ILLUMINARE, the national free webinar series. Stalwarts in homeopathy are invited for sharing their knowledge. This is the 15th such webinar in the series. We are proud to say and are attached with the largest number of delegates among all the country. So this is the 15th session from the National Free Webinar Series conducted by IHMA Kerala, and it's our honor to be here. So welcome all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anupriya. So before we start, for introducing the faculty, I would like to welcome Dr. Rajashree once again.
Thank you, Dr. Deepu. With great pleasure, I would like to welcome today's faculty, the very well-known Dr. Shekhar Algundgi. Dr. Shekhar, after doing his post-graduation, had an opportunity to do Fellowship of Homeopathy from the Pioneer of University, London, UK, under the guidance of Luke D. Shekhar, and has been conferred upon honorary membership from the Faculty Homeopathy Malaysia for his presentation on Solve the Universal Energy. He's an artist as well as a scientist, the perfect blend for a homeopathic physician. He has been a renowned figure in the homeopathic world since more than 2 decades, acclaimed for his perfect proficient oratory skills, deftly effective teaching, and concrete concepts. Dr. Shekhar has a unique way of understanding the complex human nature from various aspects and angles. His analysis of mind-body relationship to arrive at the innermost essence of each individual is exemplary. He is a remarkable physician, teacher, and a human being. We are extremely grateful to have you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Looking forward to this wonderful learning experience. Once again, welcome you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, you can start the session, sir. Thank you.
Shubha Sandhya to everybody. And it's a great pleasure to be amongst you all. And basically the idea of sharing some of the skills of understanding a human being. And normally when we say understanding a human being, we have diversified type of personalities that we come across in our day-to-day life. Some of them whom we cannot get along with. Some of them with whom we easily get along with. With some there is a friction. As we normally say, I don't know why, I just cannot tolerate that person. Having said that, nothing actually has happened verbally or non-verbally. But simply the aura of that person doesn't somehow matches with an individual. Or at times, it is so that we simply want to go one step ahead to talk to that person whom we do not know. And I believe that there is something that happens which cannot be intellectually understood. But there is something within us that makes us either repel or attract to other individuals. Like, for example, the desires and aversions in food. When we ask people, there is no justifiable answer to that as to why you simply desire this. And it is basically an inbuilt nature of an individual. You cannot artificially develop some desires. And even though if you try to develop something artificially, it doesn't last long. So for me to understand a human being has been a gradual process of development over a period of time in my practice. And with such topics like case taking, if I have to actually divide my practice into a decade into 3, if I see the first 10 years of my practice and see what I have done with cases and the way I would ask or explore the symptoms or the condition of an individual was far different from what I am doing in the current days. Because then it was I who was center and the patient was in the periphery. So I would ask according to what I know. And that would create a lot of problems. And if I look back and see the prescriptions, I would be landing up most of the time, if not always, with a polycrest remedy. And the results, yes, initially 50% better. Why? Because every polycrest remedy will somehow cover some of the common complaints of an individual. But it has not covered the individual per se as an entity, as a complete totality. So slowly, gradually, when I started seeing the follow-ups, I started understanding that at some point of time, the patient simply says, I am no further better. And at certain stage, they simply stop giving you any further improvement. This used to happen, I will tell you, 7 to 8 out of 10 cases. Luckily, one of the person would have accidentally got to the right remedy. I use the word accidentally because in those days, the question about why this remedy, the question about why this potency, the question about when to repeat, the question about why did you repeat was simply not very clear. The prescription that was done or that used to be done were not actually rock solid. Further to that, if I look back into those cases, the questioning pattern were completely different. And more than that would be that the patient would struggle to answer along with myself struggling to understand the symptom or the case because there was no fixed pattern, because there was no proper understanding in it, because there was no proper GPS to explore an individual from his chief complaint till the remedy. So from the chief complaint to the remedy, there were a lot of hurdles that were there. And the idea about not telling, the idea about I as a physician, I'm stuck now, where to go? The idea about the person is giving so much of information. The idea about the person being too talkative or someone who is simply not telling anything apart from the chief complaints. What to do? How to go about was a big, big time problem. And I frankly tell you, in those days, the thoughts of does homeopathy work? The thought of am I justifying the science that I'm practicing? When we come out from colleges, we hardly know allopathy and we hardly know homeopathy. And we are out in the open, simply knowing nothing. That would be another problem. And the idea that many of us, probably many of us, would never have been attending any good teacher. Passed out, started the practice. Passed out, started the practice. Now, What am I doing? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I to be rectified? Nobody to tell. Today we have got so many webinars, seminars happening, and it's a good opening for all of us to understand what are we doing in our cases. So the idea lately that I do, as far as this case taking is understood, is the idea that I prefer to have a proper survey of the individual. When I say survey of the individual, I mean to say that I simply tend to remain passive. I try, and as far as possible, do not throw questions. I just don't tend to be impatient as far as asking the questions are concerned, because I believe silence speaks. I believe this word pause has got a big role to play as far as homeopathy is concerned. So many a times I tell people, imagine ourselves going for an oral examination in BHMS. How tensed and how confused we are. We know the answer, but at that spur of moment, we do not know, because we are so much tense that we just cannot answer. The same might be happening with the patients. So these days, the pause gives a better idea, a better role, a better opening for understanding the individual. Because remember, what I see in these days is that people mostly are compensated. They are heavily compensated. Most of their feelings, most of their actions are compensated. And this compensation usually happens because of our social structure. This compensation happens because of our educational background. This compensation happens because of this ego that actually plays a vital role. So I believe that these are the people where we usually tend to try and decompensate, and the art of decompensation has played a big role as far as my practice is concerned, because each individual has cultivated a strong willpower, and with this willpower they compensate to what they are actually suffering, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, whatever, so that they can actually go ahead in life. They can actually make an effort to cope up with difficulties in life. But what are they actually doing? The more they compensate, the more they are trying to compromise with life, the more they are going away from the vital force. And therefore, this is where the whole idea about the vital force that gets compensated every now and then, and more it is compensated, more is the sickness that we see. Many of us, you will see in the cases, they tend to put forth a complete different picture at the beginning. Many of us, we will notice that it is all a facade that is there, a mask of showing something which they are not. And when this happens, if we just get into the face value of the person, we will definitely head for a wrong remedy. Because I believe in the early stages of the case, what I call it as the waking state, the awakened state, the conscious state, where all these feelings are terribly censored. And there is a barrier between the conscious and the subconscious level. Because what if I tell the doctor what the doctor will feel? How should I tell this person? And therefore there is a struggle inside. Should I tell or should I not? And that when it happens, when we try to immediately put a question, it simply spoils the entire recipe. There is a time when the person puts forth a complete different picture. Like that, I am very brave, doctor. I don't have any fears. Many would tell you this. I'm not scared of anything. I'm quite strong enough. I'm quite brave enough. In a normal conversation, a person would simply argue what lies you're telling. You try to defy that statement of the person. And when we try to defy the statement of the person, this is the will that stands in front, which will simply not allow you to enter deeper. But if at all you respect the statement of the person and try and ask in this fashion, what sort of fears you do not have, they will usually tend to tell about others. Like, see how others have got fear, not of financial fears, this fear, that fear. I don't have such type of fear. I'm okay with everything, whatever it is. What sort of financial fear other people have? And here is a role, believe me, humanly, we always are easy to talk about somebody else than about ourselves. We are very, very clear about this. Time and again, I have seen talking about somebody else for an individual is very easy rather than talking about themselves. But the idea is so clear. What they talk about others is nothing else but what they're talking about their own self. So if they are pointing at somebody else, you also point there. What I simply call it as you passively enter into that person's zone in a way where the person is entering. If they have blocked their own self, if they have blocked not to enter me, don't ask about me. I'm not ready to talk about me, but I'm ready to tell what others are suffering from. You will see easily the picture gets more and more clearer. Now, quite a few people over here have been seeing these things in our cases. We gently enter into what the other person is trying to tell. And therefore, these are simply an expression which at times people never talk about themselves. I don't want to expose myself. Who would like to? Nobody would like to. I don't want to share something that is personal. Who would like to? Nobody would like to. So usually the human habit or the human understanding is such that they always talk about others. And when they talk about others, ask about what about the others. The question should be, what about the others? I don't fear like how others fear. I don't have any tension like what others have. What tension others have, what fears others have, what problems others have. because they can only perceive those problems of others what they are sensitive about. It is very clear. I can only see others' problem only if I am sensitive. Otherwise, I can't see that. It doesn't fall into my radar at all. So my vital force is indirectly perceiving somebody else's problems. So here what you're doing is you're simply bypassing the will. You're simply bypassing the barrier between the conscious and the subconscious. Because if you are trying to take plain symptom, put it in the rubrics. 8 to 9 out of 10, one will definitely hit to a polycrust remedy. And we prescribe the one, usual habit is we prescribe the one that has got maximum marks, which is standing in the first or second column. We don't look ahead at all. And therefore, what creates a problem is that that remedy is a partial similar. Unless and until if we have really explored a classical characteristic symptom in that individual, which is rock solid rooted for that remedy. But many a times we cannot get that. What we get is a common symptom. Many a times, if you notice, many of us will pick up common symptoms. And some of us have the habit of taking at least around 10 to 15 rubrics and putting in the repertory chart. And when we see the remedy, most of the time we'll come to a common remedy. Rastas, Brahania, arsenic, pulsatilla, these remedies will come up. And waiting for the follow-up that the person will say, I am better. There also, there is an issue. 7 to 8 of them will say in the first follow-up, I am better. Again, the psychology that is important to see over here is this, because 9 out of 10 people have this big time feeling that nobody is there to listen to me, at least a homeopath is there to listen to me. So when they give their cases, they emotionally feel better. Where there is nobody to listen, someone is there to listen. So son, so daughter, so you are like my child, I am feeling better now than before. Take it with a pinch of salt that you have to wait and watch. Why that person is saying better? Because hardly 15 days have passed and that person is waiting. When will I meet this homeopath of mine who will listen to further my stories? Because I have nobody else to share with. Because in a complex world like today, there is no time for anybody. And here is a homeopath who has got all the time to listen to everybody's story. So I always wait to gauge to see whether the person is generally better, genuinely better with a long-term follow-ups. Not with the first or second follow-up. Because when you reveal your story, when you reveal your problems, you psychologically definitely tend to feel better. Observe the same thing with those people who have gone to pilgrims and come back. You will notice them feeling so better. You see, 100 steps were there and I've climbed without any problem, doctor. Because you have actually surrendered to that environment over there. So the same thing happens with people when they come to a homeopath. They develop that thing that you have to surrender. You have to reveal everything of yours. But when you're doing that, remember, the art is slow and steady. Create that aura, create that environment, create that silence that will actually speak for them. But usually what happens? We are anti-Hahnemannian, where In the 84 Aphorism, Hahnemann clearly mentions that the person who has come to your doorstep has come to tell you everything. Listen to it, observe everything properly, carefully, and in the end, then remark to what is happening with that individual. Rather than we keep asking and keep throwing one question after the other, which is a recipe of a disaster, because we just don't understand that the person has not got time and that space to go through one's own individual's life sensitivity. Human life sensitivity is fossilized. Years have passed by to something that has emotionally happened to them, and it is difficult to recollect one, and it is difficult to express it out too. Most important thing, it is difficult to express and it is difficult to recollect, because over a period of time they have compensated with those situations in life just to live the life as and how it comes. Many of them, if you see, they have always told you this: whatever has happened, doc. Life has to go on. When they say this life has to go on, they have actually compromised with their vital force. And what we see is an external picture in the form of diagnosis, which is the other end of the story. And when they come with the diagnosis. We have to dig in to find what is the pattern of the vital force that has been fossilized over a period of time. And therefore, it is that time that is needed. It is that space that is needed in order to get into their inner soul's energy pattern. And therefore, there will be a lot of facts, a lot of emotions, a lot of imaginations that have cultivated over a period of time. Not forcibly, but something humanly. This human emotions, this human imaginations are all something that the person is trying to cope and compromise with life, but still internally unhappy. So how do we go with all these things is the biggest problem for a homeopath. That's where this topic actually comes into picture. And therefore, this is not the one that can be theoretically explained. This is not the topic that can be actually, there is something theory in it. This is classically, purely something to do with practical part of experience. So I would like to show you all one or two cases. Some of them must have seen it, but today I would just tell you how to approach towards that, how to get into understanding the human core as it is, the pattern of the vital force as it is, right? And there are many people who have a lot of beliefs. One is a social structure, other is a belief that people carry throughout their life, which has been cultivated into them. Beliefs are cultivated, and therefore they are not able to get out of these beliefs. And why are these beliefs cultivated? Because there is the opposite side of the picture that the vital force is sensitive about. So the beliefs are simply the external facade. You know, I do 2 hours of prayers in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. Why? Because it gives me strength. What sort of strength? It gives me an idea that somebody is there with me. Why do you need somebody to be there with you? Oh, if there is nobody, how can I live my life? What do you mean by that? So there is a story. That's the story that the person is not able to live on their own. That's the story that the person is highly dependent. That's the story that the person is so primitive and undeveloped, for which the person is trying to seek for some sort of support or some sort of help or some sort of belief, so that the person can pull along in his or her life. So there will be a big idea under the skin of this particular idea of belief. What the idea should be in our mind, what is it that this person is making this belief to be so strong? What is the idea behind it? What is the reason behind it? What is the need behind it? In others, there are something called as rules and methods of upbringing. There are strict methods of upbringing. Some people have faced that thing in their life from childhood. You have to be like this, you have to be this thing, you have to get up at this time, you have to have like this breakfast, you have to have this proper lunch, you have to have this thing, this. Everything is rules and regulations. They have been hammered from childhood. And their vital force is nothing that is in sync with that rules and regulations. And therefore, they are artificially again cultivated these rules and regulations, for which they are internally in a turmoil. The vital force is simply struggling to break these rules, but they can't. This is yet another big time problem. Some people, some children, if you see, some adults, if you go to see, there are strict rules and regulations that they have to follow. So there I would ask, what is the need to follow? Or if that doesn't go further, what if you do not follow? So every situation has a positive and a negative side. So there are always two roads. What is the need to follow the rules and regulation so strictly? He will give you the idea for the need to follow the rules and regulations. If it doesn't give you that, what if you do not follow the rules and regulations? What do you think will happen? Is the negative side of that particular idea. If it still doesn't go, you have got another trump card. What if for someone who is not following the rules and regulations, what would happen to that person? Again, third person, again, easily for that person to talk. So what am I giving you the idea here? The idea that is there is every situation has got the positive side and the negative side. Like what has been given in the aphorism number 9, the functions and the sensation. So something that I want to do, but I'm not able to do. So there are two things. Something I want to do, but I'm not able to do. So there are two questions that you can ask. What you want to do? If it doesn't go, but I'm not able to do, how does that feel like not being able to do? Feels like what to you? So you see, this is the basic idea. And that you see what you see in the aphorism number 9, that it is this healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamis that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of the organism in admirable harmonious vital operations as regards both sensations and functions. So either we want to do, which is the function, and if I'm not able to do, then there is something that is happening internally, the turmoil, that is the sensation, that is something that I am not at peace, that I am not at ease, that I am suffering inside because I'm not able to do. Every situation will have this. And this idea, once it is clear why we are suffering in our cases, is because we only look at one track. And if we are looking at one track, we are not able because that person is not able to go there. So look at the other side of it. And this is what exactly our special senses are tuned to. They have this polarity of good and bad, black and white, hot and cold. This is how our special senses actually tend to differentiate in terms of comparison. And this comparison always happens in a reason gifted mind. And we go round and round and round and round with this comparison, but never come to an understanding. And as much as we go round and round with this comparison, the more the suffering, the more the emotions, the more the imagination that follow about one's own self. And therefore, there is a huge difference in the pattern of the vital force. What Hahnemann says, the altered state of an individual. What is altered? The alteration has come from this idea that he has kept on comparing himself within him, which he has never ever come to terms. Until the time that comparison happens, he will miss the poetry of now. And therefore, he goes either into the past or into the future. And that is where the person will always tell you this. What if it would have been like that? Life would have been so different. What if I get a lottery? My condition will be completely different, doc. I don't have to struggle so much. What if? So there is a tense, grammatically what we call it as the tense. So people live either in the past tense or people live in the future tense. And both are imaginations. Both are something to do with his or her stress. Because that person can never come to terms. What if, what if, what if, what if? And this what if never ends. Because in that what if, they're either in the past or in the future. And when they're in the past or future, they are filled with imaginations. And when we explore that imaginations, you will see a strange, different world, completely unique to that individual, that is beyond delusion. Something that is completely unique to him or her. That is where the simillimum lies. That is the horizon, that is the delta where the simillimum lies. Right? So we see this first case, and I'll show you how the cases are done past and in present.
What brings you here? Doctor, for the last couple of months, I've been suffering from joint pains, heel pain. Early morning when I get up, I just feel like a very old woman just trying to walk. The first 1 minute, I'm always feeling that pain in my heels. Then I become normal, but knee pains can't climb staircase. Then I have these headaches, migraines, all joint pains, even my fingers, my elbows.
So there is, She's complaining about joint pains, fingers, knee pain, ankle pain, elbow pain, and this headache, migraine. And she is describing, or she's telling about all her complaints. And these are her problems. This is how most of the individual will address. This is, I call it as introducing one's own self to the physician. And introducing in what way? I am hypertensive person. I am diabetic person. I am I have eczema. This is how one will introduce to a physician. So this is an introductory part, which all of us can understand. Okay, you have got joint pains, fair enough. Okay, you have got migraine, fair enough. Further, they will qualify this introduction. They will specify this introduction in a much better way. Specific. I am so and so person. I belong to Mumbai. I belong in Mumbai. I stay at Andheri. So they're qualifying it final. In terms of complaints, the qualification comes in the form of location, sensation, modalities, and concomitants. This is how they will qualify their introduction, the name. Right? Go ahead. No,
Old woman just trying to walk. The first like a very old woman just trying to walk. The first 1 minute, I'm always feeling that pain in my heels. Then I become normal, but knee pains, can't climb staircase. Then I have these headaches, migraines, all joint pains, even my fingers, my elbows, every joint I can feel the pain. And on account of this, I'm just giving up on myself, beginning to feel very old already. Feeling I can't cope up, I can't stand. Even I used to love shopping and I used to go shopping, but now I just think where I can go, where will I get my stuff, and I just go for 1 hour and come back. I don't want to take any chance of standing for a longer time anywhere. Wherever I get an opportunity, I like to sit. So, this is my main ailment with bones, pains, joint pains, and all that. I had a right knee cartilage, and now left there was a knee shock absorber that was slightly inflamed. So I am prolonging now with that pain. It's not getting better, but it's getting worse now. And so I'm worried that I hope I don't get into osteoarthritis like my mother had. It's there hereditary, and I'm worried how will I cope up in future. And my sister told me that this is somewhere where I will find my remedy. So I said I must make it.
Pause.
At the
So she has given everything about joint pains, about her troubles, right? And she says, suddenly I started feeling myself to be old. Now, this is a little strange to hear. Why has she to tell this in between? I can understand telling about the complaints and everything that is coming up, fair enough. Medically, everything sounds good. But what doesn't sound good is, where is this coming up? Suddenly, I started finding myself to be old. So I just make a note of it and go ahead with whatever she's saying. But I will not immediately probe. Immediately, I'll not ask question, because she has not yet finished telling what she wanted to tell. And that's what exactly in 84 Aphorism, where Hahnemann clearly mentions that the physician should not interrupt unless and until if the person wanders from the story. Right? So that is very important to understand. And many of us will immediately start questioning. There is where we are not unfolding. We are not gently removing the wrapper. We are shabbily tearing it off here and there, which I commonly use the word or the example, how the hen will feed and how the eagle will feed itself. The hen will keep on pecking, like that. But the eagle first will have a proper survey of what it wants. By soaring high, then it will spot its prey first. After spotting, it will zoom. And once it zooms, then it will dive. The pick is 101% correct. And see what Hahnemann writes in 84 Aphorism. Keeping silence himself, he allows them to say all that they have to say and refrain from interrupting. And how many times we would ask questions by now? The questions are thrown randomly, one after the other, and the person just doesn't know what to answer at that point of time. Right? Go ahead.
And we have all youngsters. So again, they feel that, I'm not a proper fit. We have young people and I'm feeling very old.
Pause. See what she says. In the office front also, I have this problem that all are youngsters. In the office, all are youngsters. So again, there I feel that I am not a proper fit. They are young people and I'm feeling very old. Second time it has come up. So therefore, genuinely, there should be some issue with this age factor of hers. Right? So behind this joint pain, behind the headache, behind the chief complaint, there is another story that is coming up, which is actually not called for. Actually, what is the need for her to tell? That I feel suddenly myself to be old. I feel myself not to be a proper fit. And then there is a comparison. All others are young and I am old. This comparison is happening. As I said, every individual keeps on comparing on something or the other. If you try to trace that, that's the issue with that person. This is what I've noticed many a times. Right? Go ahead.
So feel that I'm not part of the team. Somewhere they like to distance me.
Pause. I feel I'm not part of the team. Somewhere they like to distance me. This is her imagination. This is her thinking. This is her idea. That somewhere I feel that I'm not a part of the team. Who told her? Nobody told her. It's her own thinking. It's her own idea. So behind the complaint, behind the emotion, behind that comparison, there is always an imagination about self. This old and young is a comparison that she's doing. And behind that old and young comparison is this imagination of hers that I am not a part of the team. Somewhere they like to distance me. This is her own idea. And behind this idea, something has to be there which she is sensitive about, which is unique to her, which will also cover her joint pains. which should also cover, because what is true to a part has to be true to the whole. And therefore, looking beyond this imagination, which becomes a unique individual trait, UIT, unique individual trait, which is specific for her, which is her joint pains, her imagination that I'm not part of the team, her imagination that somewhere they like to distance me. And somewhere behind this is a unique experience of the whole idea. Right? Go ahead.
Because all these years, wherever I worked, I was always the youngest in the team. So suddenly I've become the eldest in the team and I'm feeling somewhere lost.
Pause. You see that? Till now, I was the youngest. But suddenly, I've become the eldest. And I feel somewhere lost. Again, her own idea of being lost. So not being a part of the team, being lost is something that is haunting her. Not the joint pains. Joint pains is just the outer facade. What is haunting her inside is this idea that somewhere I'm feeling lost, somewhere I'm feeling not a part of the team, somewhere I'm feeling that others are distancing me. This is the thing that is actually bothering her. Right? Go ahead.
Family front. Family, I have a very loving husband, very caring, understanding.
Now see, from the workplace, she has jumped to family. She herself has gone. Let us see there what is happening. And the idea is you will slowly start getting something common in every area of her life. Because you have kept silent. Because you have not put in any word, any question, nothing to disturb her aura. Here you are at the background. And the I of that individual is the person who is the producer and director of their own story. You're simply watching what is happening. And if you see that particular footnote 136, the beauty in that footnote, what Hahnemann gives, that you can beautifully listen to the distant flute in a silent midnight, which is otherwise inaudible in the noise of the day, because there are so many noises that are coming up. See that? 139 footnote, the softest tones of a distant flute that in the still midnight hours would inspire a tender heart with exalted feelings and dissolve it in religious ecstasy, are inaudible and powerless amid discordant cries of and the noise of the day. So initially there are too many noises that are coming up. Initially there will be too many areas, too many characters in a case. My mom, my dad, my this thing, my brother, my sibling, this, that, and it's a big chaos that is happening. But if you keep silence, if you wait for the time, all the other noises will slowly shut down. And what you can hear is the beauty of that vital forces sound, the beauty of the vital forces pattern that emerges so wonderfully that you don't actually have to do anything, just bring them together. And that's what Hahnemann says, tracing the true picture of the disease. The picture is the turmoil of the vital force. And therefore, I call the vital force simply grammatically as the verb, because the vital force is an action. The vital force animates this material body. So grammatically, the vital force is nothing else but verb. And when this verb is stuck, when this verb is perverted, and time and again this vital force is stuck, it shows its abnormal rhythm and ends somewhere, what we simply call it as the noun, the diagnosis. So the diagnosis is nothing else but the dead end of the road. And what modern medicine treat is the dead end of the road. And what we treat is, where is this verb stuck? What is the pattern of this verb? What was the action of this particular vital force of that individual, which was animating this material body, which has come with the noun to us. And that is where we have to actually see for what is happening. Go ahead.
We always share our problems with each other. Without a dialogue, we don't go to sleep. We always discuss whatever comes to our mind, our worries, have a close relationship with him. So thankfully at the home front, I have a very peaceful life, peaceful married life. I have 2 children, a daughter and a son. Daughter's occupational therapist. My son is studying in college. I have good in-laws. But I have family members and each one has their own way of looking at things. They feel that I'm very busy and I don't really have time. But I want to give them the time. I want to get the whole family together, and I always want to feel connected because my parents.
See what is the thing that is happening on the family front. With husband, always share. Other, without a dialogue, we don't go to sleep. So it's a dialogue, sharing, right? Whole family get together. I want to feel connected. And what is happening in the workplace? Not a part of the team. What is happening in the workplace? I am old, they are young. So they want to distance me. And here there is something called as connection and being together. See the polarity that is running, right? Keep a watch on this. This is what I keep a watch on. What is happening on the 2 sides of the fence? Go ahead.
Because my parents always felt that I would be the one person to bring the family together. My elder brother has a different style and his wife does not support him, so he feels very lonely when he has to come alone for any family gathering.
Of course. See what is happening with her brother's life also. My elder brother has a different style and his wife does not support him. So he feels very lonely. Exactly what she is feeling in office, at workplace. Not a part of the team. That's why that is the part that she is sensitive about her brother also. We can only see what our vital force is sensitive about. This is what I always will tell. This is what we have to see. Why is she telling about the brother story in this manner? Because what is happening to her workplace, you have to simply connect the past sentence to the present sentence, what she's telling. Right? And there is a fine thread that connects everything together. This happens in each one story. And therefore, I simply use that word, this is what is happening to her. There, she felt that not being a part. Here, what she's sensitive is the brother, wife is not at all supporting him. And therefore, he feels lonely as what she is feeling over there at workplace. Right? Go ahead.
Until his wife cooperates. And though he has a desire, and that's my third brother, my sister and me. We always meet, we discuss about our childhood. We feel very happy when we all meet together. It's just that we feel like, when we were young and how we used to fight, laugh, and have all those good times. So we long whenever there's opportunity. All of us, my brothers have also said, my sister also said, we all love to come as a family together, just to be in each other's presence and enjoy. I would live a very simple life. But to be able to be accepted in this, in the organization, in the community, and everything, I feel somewhere that I need to be like this. I need to color my hair, I need to not have show hair, not prim and proper.
Pause. See what she's saying. To be able to be accepted in the organization, again, the need for being accepted, the need to be a part, right? What am I doing to cope up? I feel somewhere I need to be like this. I need to color my hair. I need not to show my gray hair, and trim and proper. I need to be trim and proper. This is what she is doing. This is the function. So eventually that sensitivity that I will not be a part of the team or a part of the group. So in order to be a part of the group, I need to color my hair. I need to be slim and trim so that I will look young. So it is not about the age, but the idea is to be a part. Or else I will be out. This is the story that is running in her. This is the undercurrent that is going on. So look at what is happening underneath, what is happening as undercurrent. That's the beauty, how you can understand the individual. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to look young. And so the fear of getting old is bothering me.
In what way does it bother you, the fear of getting old?
Pause. So she said, the fear of getting old is bothering me. So what did I ask? What way does it bother you? Fear of getting old? Okay. But what is the reason behind, what is the thinking behind, what is the idea behind getting old for you? Someone will say, I'll be dependent. Someone will say, oh, old means I'll be rejected. So old for each individual will be looking in different ways. So I need to know what is her idea behind that old. So in what way does it bother you? The fear of getting old is the question. So here again, I would put this, there has to be a strong, concrete purpose of asking the question. If anybody asks, why did you ask this question? Then there has to be a strong, concrete purpose. The reason for asking this question is because this is what is running about her age in the last 15 to 20 or 25 minutes. More than her joint pains and more than her complaints, she has stressed about this idea about age. So I need to understand behind this age, what is running in her mind. Right? So therefore, I ask this question. Go ahead.
It makes me feel that life is like I'm not going to be as active as I would have been before. I would not have that much energy. I would be away from the young people.
Pause. Can you hear that? I will be away from the young people. Isn't it strange to hear old age means I'll be away from young people? 9 out of 10 will say I'll have to be dependent. But for her, what is the issue? I'll be away from the young people. This is, this sounds very strange, right? Go ahead.
I would be disconnected from them.
And
I would be
and what she says, I will be disconnected from them. And previously, what did you hear? I always want to feel connected, because parents always feel that I am the one person who would bring the family together. This is the polarity. Connection on one side, disconnected on the other side. This is the comparison. This is what I would like to emphasize on, that we as humans, we tend to keep on comparing, and comparing. And behind that comparison comes our imagination. Right? See footnote number 9. See that? Beautiful. Most severe diseases may be produced by sufficient disturbance of the vital force through the imagination, and also cured by the same means. It is this comparison that keeps us to imagine and imagine and imagine. And therefore, what Hahnemann says, most severe diseases are produced by these imaginations. And further to what he says, and the same thing can be cured when we meditate over this imagination and come to awareness. That is what Hahnemann says, coming to terms. Right? Therefore, these imaginations, what even Kant has done such a beautiful work on delusion. But what happened? Under one delusion, there are still more remedies. And therefore, the evolution of that particular work Kant has done, what Shankaran sir has done is the idea about experience behind that delusion, to take it to that unique individual remedy, because each one's experience under the same delusion is still different. Love disappointed for Ignatia is different from love disappointed for that of Natramil. Both have this idea about disappointed from love. But the idea of their experience behind the disappointment are two different. Where Logana says Ignatia feel completely shattered, the Natram feels betrayed by the person whom she was dependent on. Behind the delusion, there is still diversified way of perceiving. In what way they will look at that disappointed love is much, much deeper to understand. That's where the experience behind the delusion becomes more purified form of understanding an individual. Right? Go ahead.
friends, and where the things are happening, I would be away from them quite. I'm always a very happening person, so I like to be in the midst of that. Maybe then I'll not have any attention from anyone, so getting more is really an area of concern. At the same time, I don't want to be a burden. So I just want to feel that at least as long as I live, I don't want all these aches and pains. This is what I thought. I should lose weight. I should not have these pains and live a real healthy life. What means
See that? Pause. Now, she said, away. So there are two things that I can ask, connected or disconnected. But they're direct opposites. And there is one word away that comes which also shows you something like disconnected. Word is similar, but she used a different word. So I pick up a different word. This is going tangentially. Rather than directly connected and disconnected, which is the direct opposite, she used one more word called away. So I use what means away. This is like simply what we call it as ambush attack. That she will not be aware about the word, because connected, disconnected could be possibly that she's aware of that word. Right? So I pick up away, midpoint between both, but yet similar to disconnected, and ask what means away. This is the art. How to dissect the word and go in between the word and find out something that is not being totally conscious. But you have to pick it up. You have to understand in that spur of moment. Should I ask connected? No. Should I ask disconnected? No, because both are equal and opposite. There is some more word that has come up which she might not be aware about. So ask that and see where it goes. Go ahead.
Away means I feel that I would not be with them. I would be, separated from them.
Pause. Can you see the gesture also coming up? Separated from them. You see, the mind, body, soul are all now in sync. Separated from them. Go ahead.
Totally disconnected.
Again, the word has come back. Disconnected.
I would not be a part of them.
Again, wanting to be a part of them, which she said in the workplace. And here what she says, I would not be a part of them. So this is the very central idea. This becomes clear to us, like the eagle. Now we have to focus, zoom, and dive. Our survey has been done. Once you get clear with this idea, the chances of making a mistake becomes less. And therefore, you should be clear about what is the purpose of asking the question. And many a time, where we falter is the question that we ask. Proper framing of question is very, very important, because that helps to simply, easily percolate through and get the exact essence extract of her vital force or his vital force as it is, right? Without any added flavors in it. Go ahead.
Is being a part. Being a part, being with them, a part of the team. I'm also like a branch has, like a tree has many branches, and one of them is what I would feel. But, and that is what I feel in the community. We don't want to give up because we feel totally being out of it. Away from them means total disconnect. We like people, we like building rapport, we like to talk to people. Tell about disconnect.
Because there was a gesture, being out. One. Second time it has come. Separated, being out. With two things, she came up with this thing with a gesture. And total disconnect. This gives you an idea about what she added, the word total. Gives weightage to the word disconnect. severely affected gives a weightage. That severely gives a too much of a problem. Too much gives a weightage to that problem. Like that total disconnect. These attaching words are very, very useful. That gives you the gravity of her sensitivity. Casually saying disconnect is different. But when you say total disconnect, the total adds weightage to that word disconnect. Right? Go ahead.
Means absolutely feeling lonely, disconnect from everyone, just being alone, absolutely left out.
Left out.
I
Now
don't
you
know
see how
where.
many words? This gives you the idea that away, disconnect, left out, separated. So many words that mean the same. This is what plants will give. This is not structural issue that there is something lacking or losing. This is not something that gives you the idea of revenge, jealousy, hatred, one upon the other, strength, power, put down, area, territory. This story is also not there. What you can see here is that I'm sensitivity and there is reactivity. That I want to trim myself. I want to gray my color my hair and all this so that I'll be included, so that I'll be with the team. So I'll be a part of the team on one side, the other side away, separated, left out, disconnected on the other side of this thing. Right? Go ahead.
What lies with them, with us, what the situation and all, but feel left out.
Pause. You see the pause that I'm taking. Can you see? So that I allow, this is what I call it as the marination center. I allow that whole state to be marinated in her. Because at this moment, you are now soaked into this disconnect. And the idea, how do you get? The eyes shut down or the eye-to-eye contact is lost. The body gesture changes. The pitch, volume of the voice changes. Imagine when we are caught copying, when we are caught with some mistake or mischief that we have done, how our body language changes automatically without its involuntary action. And the same opposite thing is when we are too excited and happy, our body language changes over that at that time also without voluntarily knowing. So these are the changes that happen. So take that subtle pause and gently pierce and see what happens. Go ahead.
So that is the my fear of getting old, not being able to do what I am doing all these years, at least the past 10, 12 years. I'm living a very active life. Maybe I'm running on no end. So I feel all this would come to an end with my aches and pains. I just feel, slowly, I might start saying no. I'm not the same person with all the energy I used to have. I'm not the same person that I can do things. I could stand for hours and cook, which I feel I'm just do minimum things and cut short. Or I'll take a break and rest.
So how does it left out feel?
Left out feels low, sad. No energy kind of a thing. No zeal. No direction. I don't feel that I have found any direction. absolutely clueless about that. When I feel left out, really clueless. Why did it happen? Why? I know the fear of getting old is really bothering me. It's not that, appearance wise, but I'm just feeling because the entire body is not supporting me with my aches and pains to do the things that I could have done.
Tell a bit about this left out a little bit more.
Pause. Can you see why I stay persistent with that? This is called persistently staying with that left out. Because more than her complaints, this is the center of her idea. That growing old is the most important problem for her. Behind that growing old is this idea of left out. And she gave everything. So I stay with this left out and persistently go still further. See what happens.
Left out, I could feel that if there is something where I would have done it better, I'm not part of it. Where some event is happening and I'm not there. Or
See, I'm not a part of it. Some event is happening and I'm not there. Go ahead.
I just cannot accept that I won't be left out. I want to be wherever there is something that is in the midst of a happening place. So if there's no activity around me and there's nothing that is, there's no excitement in life. It's just like, very dull, no direction. It's what I feel left out.
Bit more about the experience of left out.
Left out means I don't feel included. I don't feel a part of whatever is happening. I don't feel included. Suppose they're going for a movie and they have decided a date which is a working day for me and I can't be there, I feel I'm not a part of it. I feel I'm not included in that. They could have thought of it on a day where I am available.
So how will that be? The day when you are
Then if they accommodate me, I feel very good. But if they have not,
good about it.
good about
What?
if they accommodate me, if they think, they care for me, I see that feelings from them, that the concern from them, that okay, we'll keep it on the Saturday or Sunday where Juliet will be able to come. I feel good feeling. It's very exciting.
About what?
That they want to need to be there. So I want that thing to be there. Wherever,
What means need to be there?
be a part of them, be associated with them, be involved with them, feel one with them.
See that? So the whole idea, here is to be a part, be associated, be involved, feel one with them, feeling connected with them, feeling part of the celebration. Just being with them is a moment of celebration for me. Joyful, connected with them is joyful. Then it's whether it's with them or my husband or my family If I'm a part of any decision, I feel good. Involved, I feel good. So the idea of being involved, the idea of being part of it, the idea of being connected, the idea of being included. And the other side is the idea of excluded, separate, disconnected, not being a part. This is the story that runs. This is the idea that is going ahead. So I asked her further, tell about being connected. She says, connected is one particular terminology of team I always feel. She says, I always feel this word connected, always. That is where I belong. That is where I belong, she says. Team building and doing something in a team. So she does this gesture, team building and doing something for a team, helping, because that's been my understanding of being together. So the idea of being together, the idea of being included, right? Connected, being part, being included. Connected means to be a part, to be included. In a sense of fulfillment, complete. And the opposite would be disconnect, being away, feeling lonely, rejected, unwanted. And connected means to be wanted. So I'll show you the PPT of this. So you see there, disconnected, separated, being apart, disjointed, falling apart, rejected, not included, lonely, right? This gives us an understanding of the Scrophulariaceae family, where the whole idea of the Scrophulariaceae family is all about being included, right? She copes up her life situations sometimes by trying to put an effort, by coloring the hair, goes for walks. The whole story, we have edited that thing for the time, this thing purpose. So she would go for walks and all for a month or so, reduce 1 or 2 kg, and then she would love partying with people, because she felt included. So this was happening, trying and accepting, trying and resenting, trying and resenting. So the ringworm miasm was very prominently seen over there, where there is a theme of trying and resentment in success. So the kingdom is plant kingdom, family is Scrophulariaceae, and the miasm is ringworm miasm. And see the idea of the Scrophulariaceae family. The whole idea is all about attached, togetherness, unconnected, disconnected, united, tear apart, unattached, separate, break up, not together, loose, disjointed, right? Next. So the whole sensation over here is all about bond and connections are not strong. So he wants to hold on to very tightly. The idea of the bonds and connections not being strong and the need to hold on tightly. When the connection breaks, then fear, fright, delusion starts that I will be not wanted. I will be not included. I will be isolated. All this imagination starts. But in Malville's, the idea is that the two individual thing just come and share the moment of time. It's the lingering taste of togetherness, something that you can share with the person whom you love. So the ideas, the thoughts, the time that you spend together. And then there is this idea that once the celebration is over, then you go back to your own place where you feel separatedness. So the idea is two separate individuals, not dependent on each other, but the idea is spending time together. And connection. Connection meaning a relationship in which a person or thing is linked or associated with something else. And the synonym is association, attachment, bond, tie. All these are the synonym words. And she used a lot, away, disconnected, separatedness, all this. Lily flore, somebody asked about lily flore. The lily flore, the idea is pushed out, forced out, expelled forcibly, rejected. You marry a person from out of your community and the community throws you out. That is lily flore. So therefore, I need to be religious. I need to be within the community. So I need to hold on to the community. It's as if how you have boarded a bus which is completely packed and you're the last person. What would you do? Hold the two rods and push inside, otherwise you'll be thrown out. So that is the idea of lily flore. The idea of the toothpaste, the last part. How will you squeeze it out for the last part of the paste that has to come out? And if it doesn't come, you will take a balun to squeeze it out. If that also doesn't happen, you'll cut it with a knife and open and use it for one more day morning session. So the idea is you are forced out and you're forcibly trying to hold on to push inside. The best example is to board a fully packed bus and you are the last person. What would you do is exactly lily flore. That's exactly what lilium tigrinum is. The feeling of the uterus is just coming down, bearing down on the sensation of the uterus. And what you have to do, forcibly push it inside, cross-legged, that you have to sit down, right? So that is the idea of lily flore. But here it is not that. Here it is disconnected. The idea is that there is no pressure that have been pushed out. That is missing in scrofulariaceae. Whereas in Malvaceae, the idea is simply to be together. The idea is that and you see for the Cadbury, the gift wrap now, what is coming up is celebration. What is celebration? Each individual entity come in that moment to enjoy, to share good time together. So the idea of sharing good time together. I just need her. I need someone whom I love. Right? Cadbury's Dairy Milk. So that's what Malvaceae is. The idea of chocolate is to offer it to someone whom you love. The previous caption was lingering taste of togetherness. Now it is celebration. So the theme is the same, where you come together with people whom you love, where you can share your feelings. Just share the moment of time. That's the idea of Malvaceae. There's a need for attachment. Yeah, one-to-one relationship. Perfect. There is a need for attachment to assemble firmly so that it's not disintegrated, to adhere tightly. As one understands in this family, at an emotional level, connection means one can exist without the other, that there are two separate independent entities, but the bond between them is very important. Both are individual, but the bond between them is very important. That bond for them is loose. And therefore, there is this fear of losing this bond, the fear of losing this connectivity. The feeling is not that he is dependent on that or that one is smaller than the other. It is not about one being smaller and the other being this thing. Like a ball and a socket, one fits into other and together they make a perfect fit. So the remedy given was Veronica Officinalis 1, because that was her delusion, that I am now looking old suddenly. So that was her imagination. And therefore, she lived in this imagination more than her complaints, more than her joint pains and everything. This was very important. Desire for husband, homesickness, detached feeling, delusion that people are distant. See that Veronica Officinalis. What is the idea? Delusion that people are distant, other they will distance me. Community also the same thing. She would be in the community. She would do all the church activities and everything. Because if that is there, then people will be together. People will include us, or else they will distance us. And see the limbs, this thing. Sharp pains in hip, stitching pains in the hip, worse in the left hip, worse in the right hip, stiffness of the back, particularly of the lower back. So her symptoms also cover with this particular idea. So what is the idea? The central idea is this: when you go beyond delusion, it gives you the unique understanding of the personality, that which is otherwise never ever seen on a surface. On the surface, everything is with the willpower. On the surface, everything is simply hidden, because we do not allow ourselves to experience and react in a manner that we would like to. Nobody would love to express themselves out. Nobody would love to show what their experience is. Nobody would react the way it has to be reacted because of our social strata, because of the society that we are into, maybe because of our qualification, maybe because of our family background, maybe because of the rules and regulations that have been put down on us right from our childhood till date, the way we have been trained. All these are the factors that doesn't allow us to express the way we should express at a given moment of time. But what happens eventually? It simply fossilizes. And when you keep on compensating these things, you end up with these particular type of pathology or complaints. Right? This is how cases are actually done. And see the follow-up.
How are you feeling? I started feeling confident. I started feeling much better. I thought I put off the idea that I feel old or something.
I started feeling confident. I started feeling very confident, and I have put off this idea of feeling old. Can you see that? First thing that comes up is not that I'm better by complaint wise. That is not the statement for her. What is the statement that comes up from her mouth is, I put off this idea that I am started feeling old. All that is gone. So first thing that goes is your delusion becomes or comes to awareness. Now I'm okay with my old feeling. If I'm old, I'm old. It's okay. So what delusion was creating a disease for you, your awareness now makes you to understand that you are living in the present continuous tense. The most important thing is you're living in the present continuous tense rather than the past tense or the future tense. This is where grammatically the vital forces tense is important. And therefore, if we would have had time, we would have even talked about this thing, how to twist our question depending upon what tense the person is. Never ask about what will happen tomorrow if the person is talking about the past tense. The question should be past tense only. Therefore, the way of asking questions is a huge, huge issue. If we keep our understanding of asking the question, including the way the person is, the pace that the person has, the volume that the person has changed, even you need to change the volume. The tense in which the person is talking, even you need to change the tense. The gender in which the person is using, even you need to change the gender. If the person has gone into the abstract world, you don't put he or she as the gender. You have to also put as abstract as possible. All these matters eventually when you are connecting further towards going into the universal realm. Right? Go further.
I feel like if I'm healthy, I should feel better. That's what I kept telling myself. Overall, how are you feeling? Now I'm feeling that, I don't think I should be worried about that. There are many other things which I know, and telling myself how to do. So this medicine, how are you feeling overall? Is my realization is coming that I am not to be worried about age factor, about being slow, about, I'll just take it now as it comes. I'm feeling quite, confident about this. Let me do in my own position whatever I am doing. Let me put my best.
See the change in her? The whole approach towards life changes. And automatically, once you put the verb in its place in the present continuous tense, the noun automatically goes. One landed to the noun because of the past and future tense. And that's exactly what we will be doing in the upcoming event that we have in English, Hindi, Marathi, vernacular language also. What question to ask at what point of time? How to ask, where to ask, and a simple art of conversation. Because this session is very, very important. What is the thing that happens is we simply throw questions without a reason. And we expect an answer according to our wills and fancies. That's very important. According to our wills and fancies. But remember, that person doesn't have that taste nor flavor. He or she is not interested in what you are trying to ask. In fact, we should be interested in what they want to tell. Makes a whole lot of difference. Our entire time, if you have ever seen our cases back to back, we will always notice I was interested in asking that. Because I thought this is the remedy. Or I assumed this could be the problem. So our assumptions, our ideas doesn't work. When, for example, this person was telling, I didn't bother about the cheek complaint that much. What was my botheration? Why has she to talk about age? As in one of the webinars we spoke about, every individual has some or the other itch, which they will mention, voluntarily, involuntarily, they will mention. Find out what is that itch behind that particular thing for them, for which they are trying to run behind. Some people will run behind glamour, some people will run behind fame, some people will run behind money. What is it that is making them to run behind that? There has to be a definite, concrete reason. And once that becomes clear, you see, the cheap complaint, everything simply falls in its own place. Automatically it falls. Because it is your joints, it is your skin, it is your head, it is your migraine. But they are individual areas of your body, which is what is omnipresent is the vital force. So once you understand the patterns of this omnipresent vital force, you understand every part of the body. That's what Burning Hassan said. When it is true to a part, it is true to the whole. And that's exactly how you imagine yourself is given in footnote number 9. And when you keep still and silence, according to footnote number 139, you can start listening, hearing, feeling, palpating the vital forces rhythm. And if you follow the 84 aphorism, by listening and observing, and in the end remarking, you have done with the entire today's topic of case taking. And understanding this, that every individual has this polarity. On one side there is sensitivity, on the other side there is function. And that's how our special senses are being tuned at. So if you can spot what is the sensation, what is the function of this person, and then frame your question accordingly, you have done with it. So we dealt with aphorism 9. We dealt with aphorism number 84. We dealt with footnote number 9. We dealt with footnote number 139. All these are incorporated in this beautiful art of case taking. And remember, it's an art which needs to be practiced. It cannot be taught. Right? Okay, so any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a million, sir. I should thank the AHMI to have this wonderful session over here. And it was a real good thing that you all are doing. I really adore this work of yours, so that, many of us can take advantage of these sessions. And whenever there are future sessions also, I believe all of us will keep
Yes, sir.
attending.
Yes, sir. We will definitely call you, sir. We will definitely. Dr. Anupriya, are you there? I lost my chat box actually. Anupriya,
Yes, doctor.
can you please check any relevant doubts in particular to the topic there in the chat box? I will look for the YouTube. Okay.
So somebody, one question was there. Jayatri has asked, sir, could it be herd animal? Good thought, because need for a group is there, needing for people, the team and all that thing is there. But the idea of survival is not there. The idea of that people will take advantage of me if I am alone. I am vulnerable if I am left out. Somebody will come and attack me. I do not have the strength to actually survive on my own. These themes of me versus you, this theme of strong versus the weak, this theme of herd protecting me, herd taking care of me, herd is something that is where I am safe, I am secured, my life is not in danger, I am not threatened. This factor of animal kingdom understanding of herd, especially the mammalian herd, this is not seen in this case.
It was an excellent explanation, sir.
Malwales has been told, lily flora has been told.
Yes,
Again,
yes.
for lithium, somebody asked, Kaveshri has asked, please throw some light on lithium, how to differentiate with lithium. The whole understanding is too primitive. The idea about covering, the idea about being protected within the cover, the idea that I am not able to face the outside world. I do not have that structure. I'm so jittery. It's like how lithium batteries, the charging goes away, you have to recharge them. So for me, the idea is that lithium are needing to be continuously charged. There is extreme amount of weakness. There is extreme amount of fatigue because the structure is so primitive, and they need that covering. They need that protection. They need a wall, a bubble wrap around them, that which is very safe for them, secure for them, because I do not have the capacity, capability, sustainability to face the outside world. That is the idea for the second row of the periodic table, first column, the lithium.
Okay,
And they will give you this idea. I'm so attached to that umbilical cord. I'm so attached to the mother because I still feel myself to be within her womb. Very cozy, safe, secured. So they give you this idea that they have not left the womb.
okay,
Something which is very safe. Yeah.
sir. Sir, can you please explain how to differentiate it with leguminaceae?
Leguminaceae, the whole idea, there is a cover, there is a wrapping, there is idea of spilling out, there is the idea of scattering, the idea of being scattered, the idea of being spilled out. And I need to be within the wrap. I need to be covered. There is something that is keeping me closed. And the other side of it is anything disturb me, I'm scattered. I'm all over the place. One of the patients said, Doc, in my office, at home, everywhere, I cannot manage time and I cannot manage work. I feel that I'm all over the place. First 5 minutes, I feel I'm all over. Describe this all over the place. And the whole idea of spilling, scattering, all these things of legume, how the legumes, you open the pod and everything is all over the place, spilled out. So that's the idea of leguminous. And they'll give you this idea, this being in a cover, being in a wrap, being something like this. And anything inside, if this is slit open, if it's cut open, it's just spilled out. It just disperses. This is how the legume will give you the idea. But this patient of mine, beautifully she said, I'm just all over the place, doing this, doing that, doing. So doing any work, that is common. But what was the reason for her to say that I'm all over the place? This is very characteristic. You have to find out in a line what strikes out which you have never heard before. That is the art. That is what I always tell. That's the art. If you can pick up that, you have got the essence. Something that is common, don't listen. It's of no use. Go to sleep till you listen to everything that is common. Such a lot of work is there. Oh no, I have got so much of file piled up. When I go home, my children throw the bag here, throw the bag there. Books are here, everything, and I'm all over the place just doing the work. So if one has to say, oh, I have to do all the work, I can understand. But I'm all over the place. Things are scattered, I can still understand. Okay, still understand. I am all over the place. This I cannot understand. So this is what is very important to see. A bit that doesn't fit. Something that I cannot understand in the conversation. And who is that is trying to tell you this or making you tell this? There is that vital force which has expressed it out in this fashion that I am all over the place. Listen to that. That is the inroad towards your inner conscious. It's a fascinating world. Many people will tell you things which you have never ever heard before at all. Now, one of the case last week, I said, okay, what is lockdown for you? She said, she used the word lockdown. Lockdown is there. No, lockdown is there. I said, what is lockdown? To sit quietly in a still position. I said, describe the still position, and it has gone completely different. Where is the lockdown and where is that still position is completely different, because the answers that, because she said it 10 times, so therefore it made me ask, what's lockdown for you? You have to sit in still position. Now, this is not understandable. What is the still position? So I describe the still position. Forget you, forget anybody. Just describe still position. And that straight away connected to completely inner self of hers. Lockdown is just an entry. Right? Like how I say, some people say, I don't have freedom. I don't have freedom. Many a time I use this example for those who are newcomers on this thing. So when we ask what freedom is for you, they will give you a variety of things what freedom means for them. Variety. I love tasty food. Now this is commonly understood. What's tasty for you? Khari. Do you all know khari? Something that is crispy, layer, puffed up, what do you call that? Puff biscuit or something of that sort. That is tasty for me. I said, wow, what is tasty in that? The crunchy thing, na? Describe that crunchy, how it goes. Describe that a little bit. Poor thing, that middle layer doesn't have a chance to get out. Na? Now, where has this come from? The middle layer do not have a chance to get out. That's why it has to puff up. And from there, the hindrance, from there to cruciferous. So you cannot imagine in your wildest of dreams what will come up. I love tasty food. Now there was a energy to this word tasty. So I thought she'll talk about something completely tasty, means some masala and all these things and all. But what is tasty for you? This puffed biscuit. What in that is tasty? Because this is strange. So I have to ask. What in that is strange? This thing tasty? How it goes crunchy, na? Let's just crrrk, and she made a sound. I said, describe this. Poor thing, the middle layer cannot come out. No? So it is getting crushed between the upper layer and lower layer, which is hard. And in between layers are very thin, papery. I said, describe that thin, papery, poor thing. No? They just cannot come out. Biscuit cannot come out. Now that biscuit is remaining aside. I don't want the biscuit now. Cannot come out. Then from there to hindrance, to obstruction, to everything. From where to where it has gone. So mind is very strange. Therefore, from compensated to decompensated, to take them into that is a beautiful art. And that just comes with practice. Right? Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you so much, sir. I think till
Thank you.
now we have covered all the questions, and they are only appreciation, the lots of appreciations for our legend. So thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. And you are always being an inspiration for us, for all the homeopaths. Your innovative approach and experience is a milestone for all the homeopaths. And for such a core thoughts regarding the symptomatology, and your explanation is awesome. I must say it was a legendary moments for all of us. And from IHMA Kerala State Chapter, I show my heartfelt thanks to you and myself, Anupriya sir, a part of IHMA. So my sincere gratitude and welcome you, sir, in our street webinar sessions also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you. Thanks a million to the entire team. And thanks a million to all of you all for being here today on a Sunday evening. Because usually it would be Sunday evening means outing, but now there is no outing. So this is the only outing that we have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, but it was actually we approached you for the last season in the Kerala series, but you are so much busy. So it was a very glad that you came for our national webinar, and I thank Dr. Sudhin for giving IHMA Kerala chapter for hosting this webinar, beautiful webinar. And I think our participants are really enjoyed it, sir. We hope more sessions from you. Actually, we have a session
Surely.
from other song today by the Mayasam. So I think many doctors will understand what you told today, and it will be on YouTube. And please, sir, we are inviting for further sessions. And
Definitely, definitely. At any
uh,
time at your service.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
So,
you.
dear doctors, we have our tomorrow session there by Dr. Arulvanan regarding radiology and imaging with homeopathic therapeutics. So, be subscribe our channel, our YouTube, and we are expressing our sincere thanks to all for joining us and keep spreading the message. And thank you, Shekhar sir and Dr. Swara, and so many people are there. I know that, but thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhar and Dr. Priyanka. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.